It's mid-March and I've started planting some things outside. Our frost date is April 16th, so I can only put cold weather things. I planted some potatoes. They won't come up for a bit. I'm not sure how well my lavender weathered. The top part looks pretty bad, but I've got some new growth near the bottom, so I'm hopeful. I've got my garlic going right here. Looks pretty good. And over here in this bed, in the back, I have 3 broccoli plants. And then in front of those, I have some baby choy, which are absolutely loving the cold weather. I had them covered for a little bit, but I didn't seem to need it. And then in the front here, I've got some, I don't know if you can see it down in there, I've got some spinach, and I just wasn't sure how well it would do in the cold, but I think I need to go ahead and take off these little bottle greenhouses because I think it'll be fine without them. Over here in this area, I've got several things going on here. I've got, come around here. I've got Swiss chard in this front part. It's a nice yummy leaf and stem for cooking and eating in salads, raw, either way. I've got some pak choy. It was baby choy over in the other place. This is the big daddy pak choy. I've got some onion starts planted back here. The big ones in the back are from last year, and these little ones I just planted. And I've got some little kale coming along back here. And I've got little gem lettuce, oak leaf lettuce. What's this one? Oh, that's more oak leaf. Oops. That's more oak leaf lettuce. Their leaves really do look a little bit like an oak tree leaf. And there's a little bit more of that. Then I've got some butter crunch. Several rows of that. And a little bit more spinach on the end. Over here, I planted a row of potatoes. And I've got some lacinato kale. That's the dino kale. It doesn't seem to like the cold very well. The plants are staying very tiny. And then next to that, I've got some Bibb lettuce. A few more of my onion starts over here. And then I've got cauliflower, the lighter green, and broccoli are here on the end. Some darker green. So I had 3 broccoli plants over in the other area, and I've got another 7 over here. And then out here in this section, I've got butter crunch lettuce. I've got some more spinach, and this uncovered spinach seems to be doing far better than the rest, so I'm going to go uncover those others. This little guy is an icicle radish, which I'll need to thin out here before too long. And then next to that, I planted some beets, which don't seem to be doing anything. And I've got arugula. I've got arugula here in these last 2 rows. So that's this bed. In this bed, I've planted some sugar snap peas along here, and when they come up, I've got a nice tall trellis here that I can use to run some strings and support those. Over here, I've got some more of my blue kale. And it's kind of funny, this garden, the outside garden bed, which I haven't really started working on, I was, as you can see, it's covered in weeds, but I was going by here earlier and I've got a nice kale that came up out here all on its own, and another one back there. So that's kind of a nice little surprise. And then here inside the high tunnel, I have a flat of marigolds that their roots keep away bad things, nematodes and such. And I planted it's way too early, but I planted a tomato here and covered him up. So he's kind of double covered between that and the high tunnel. And then on this side, I put up this arch, and I didn't have soil in here yet, so I decided to try grow bags. So I've got some regular peas coming up here, and I'll train them up the trellis. And then over here, I just planted them yesterday, so they haven't come up yet, but I've got sugar snap peas there. Oh, and in my peas over here in the front, I also planted some lettuce that's starting to come up here, some iceberg lettuce. So we'll see how that does in here. I've got several more tomatoes back here. I have two that are uncovered. Now, the one down there was a better boy. This one, these four are Super Sweet 100s. And here's the two that are uncovered. There's one that's covered, and this one is half covered. So I'm kind of doing an experiment here to see how they do. But I gotta say, right now, after one day, the uncovered look far better than the covered. I picked out some salvia, and that's not to eat, that's to attract my pollinators. I know that hummingbirds like it too, but I don't know if they'll come in my high tunnel or not. So I've got one of those there. Then back here, double covered, I've got my red peppers, sweet red peppers, and they're looking like they enjoy it out here with the double cover. They seem to be fine. And another salvia. And then here's my two little dwarf peach trees that I have in here. And they are starting to leaf out, and they've got beautiful blooms. I haven't seen any bees, but it's still pretty cold. I did see a wasp in here though, crawling around among those. And then back here, I've got a fig that's in a pot, and it's just starting to bud out here. And that's about it. So that's what I've got going on at the moment. I have many projects left to go, so this is all going to be peppers, and I have some starts, some pepper starts. I couldn't find orange, but I've got the red are planted in here, and I've got some yellow sweet bell peppers. I've got some green, and of course they're all green until they turn their colors, and got some poblano, and I've got some Jedi jalapeno that make the big jalapenos as big as your thumb. So that'll be fun. And then this will all be tomatoes, and I'm gonna put the same cattle fencing like these arches. I'm going to put a straight one right down the middle between the two sides. The squares are big enough that you can reach through, and I also have walking room on the other side, so that will be take care of those. And then once we get going, I've got a whole bunch of herbs, which of course I want to keep in pots so that they don't spread and take over the whole entire garden. But that's pretty much that's pretty much what I have going on at the moment. And I still got lots of places to plant things. These are my strawberries out here that look like they're feeling frisky. So we'll see what they grow. I've got a few more of those. Those are what's in the pots over there. I've got more strawberries over there. I had a little chipmunk that likes to take a chomp out of each berry. So I hang these. That's why they're all in hanging baskets. I hang these up. I did have them planted in a raised bed like my lettuces here. But what happened was he would just come and take a chomp out of each berry. He wouldn't just eat one berry, he'd take a chomp out of each one, like testing each one and ruining the entire crop, because who wants to eat a berry that some animals eaten half of? I've got a few herb pots back here that were just left out over the winter. So this one needs to be cleaned up, but it's coming back nicely. This one's my pineapple mint. This is my lime thyme here. I've got lemon thyme next to it. And then back here, I've got a Russian, I can't remember, Russian sage or something. I don't know. I've never gotten much from that. It looks like it didn't make it. Well, no, that's not. I take that back. Way down here at the base. There. I can see some little leaves coming up. And then over here, looks like this guy might be coming back. I have to double check that those are actually, that one's a clover. I have to double check that these are actually what I want to grow here. Inside the greenhouse is another work in progress. This is sage. It's looking nice and healthy. Here's my new my new herbs that I've got going that I need to transplant outside. So I got something called a barbecue rosemary to try. This is my other rosemary plant, and it's looking pretty shady right now. I don't know if it's gonna make it. It's got green on the branches. Oh, it smells good. But it's also got a lot of brown and dried areas. So I may just try cutting it back and see if I've completely lost it or if it will come back. I got these 4 plants, which are kind of fun. They're lemon thyme. I didn't know mine was doing so well out there, or I would have probably not bought 4. But I got the variegated and I've got the green, so I thought those would be pretty together. I've got 2 of these apple mint. They're really good. I tried those. Windy. And this one is a berries and cream mint. Got 2 of those. They were delicious too. I was nibbling my way through the nursery. So I've got a variety of different things here. I've got some oregano, another kind of mint. Oh, I got a peppermint and a spearmint because I wasn't sure how well those would overwinter. And then I've got my amaryllis bulbs in this bed, which really need to be moved. At the end of last year, I had peppers in here that weren't very productive, and I just pruned them back pretty harshly, and just to see if they would come back, because they'll come back faster, I'm hoping, since they have a whole root system established already. So I've got, you can see that one's coming along. This one's got little buds here. These are some more super sweet 100s. They are branches that I plucked off of the plants when I was planting them so I could plant them deeper, and I just stuck them in some damp soil. And we'll see, last year I did that, and one of my best producing tomatoes was just a branch that I trimmed off of one of my plants and just stuck in the ground. So we'll see how that works. I've got some beets coming along here. I don't actually eat the beets. I just like the beet greens. So I like those in salads and so forth. My lemon tree has got a few little bitty lemons, but it's getting ready to flower again. And its friend over here is also getting ready to flower. So we'll see how that goes. I've got a few more peppers in here that are not showing any signs of life yet, so we'll see what happens. I've got a few spring onions in the back there, a few more amaryllis. This is like my favorite mint. It's orange mint, and it's just smells so good, and it tastes delicious too. Got a little baby willow tree growing here. I just clipped a little tip of a branch off of my willow and stuck it in some moist soil, and it's about a year old now. It was just a little twig. You can see down here, that's how high, that's how big it was. So it's about ready to go outside, I think. This bed that's got a little clover problem is an asparagus bed. The one outside is not producing yet, but this one is starting to get a few little spears. More amaryllis, and back here I've got another asparagus bed and a weed and clover. So that's pretty much what's going on out here at the moment in the greenhouse. I've got a few amaryllis bulbs that I've taken out of the beds, and they don't do nearly as well as in the beds. I've got some onions, some spring onions starting there. A few little succulents here. So that's what's going on. And last but not least, right here in this pot outside of my greenhouse, I've got this. When I bought it years ago, they called it onion grass. It makes the best chives. It's not harsh like the ramps, but it's it just keeps coming back. Keeps coming back and coming back. You just cut it from the outside where it spreads out. You just cut it from the outside in. You just cut them off and leave the roots in there, and it just keeps coming back. It was completely dead looking flat at the end of the year last year when it got cold, like a month ago, and now it's beautiful, and it's getting ready to, it's even getting some little flower heads here, so little buds, so that's pretty exciting. So here's an overview of what's going on in the back. There is where I haven't planted anything. That's my level with the ground garden back there. We've had some windstorms that have totally ripped up the plastic that was tarp that was covering that. It was just an old pool cover, so it wasn't the strongest of things. And then this front part is where I have all the little plants that I showed you, the different lettuces and things. And then there's the high tunnel. So I'm very excited about spring. I love that we have flowers coming up, various patches around the yard, and I'm looking forward to it staying a little warmer at night so that I can plant some more things out here.